Hey guys, this is Hey Lizbeth, and I am so excited of all the questions I got from you guys. This is going to be kind of a long video, so sit back and enjoy. Okay, our first question comes from Sheila Gagne, and she asks, "What are your favorite Disney, Pixar, Miyazaki, and Don Bluth movies?" Um, my favorite Disney movie of all time is definitely Beauty and the Beast. I feel that it's basically the quintessential Disney film. You got a beautiful storyline, you got wonderful characters, you got a fantabulous soundtrack, and it's just all around what I would think of a Disney movie being. Pixar, I would definitely have to say Wally, because I just love the character designs. I love how they behave in the film. I love how unique the film was, especially the first 30 minutes, how it was just completely all no dialogue. It was just all in the actions of the robots. I don't know, it was so good, and I was so enchanted by the whole thing. So that's definitely my favorite Pixar film. Miyazaki, this was a hard one because there's so many wonderful Miyazaki films, and I'm also really depressed that the studio is closing. God. I was gonna say Castle in the Sky because that's just a wonderful adventure film, but I definitely have to say Spirited Away is my absolute favorite film. It's just it's so fun to watch, and you're really engaged in the whole film, and there really isn't a solid villain, which I thought was really really cool. And it's just such a wonderful film to watch, and the English dub is fantastic. Miyazaki does a wonderful job with their English dubs. Yeah, that's definitely my favorite. Now, Don Bluth. I I did not grow up with Don Bluth. That was his films were not I didn't watch any of his films as a young kid. Um just because I just we just didn't have it. We just didn't have their film. We just didn't have his films. Um I actually only watched An American Tail just recently, like a few weeks ago, for the first time, and that was really, really good. It's so different from, of course, Disney, which I grew up with. I guess my answer for that would be definitely American Tail, because that was a good one. I have not seen Secret of Nim, and I haven't seen All Dogs Go to Heaven, so that might change, but I will lock in my answer as American Tail. Okay, and our next question comes from Ace Whistle. If I pronounce these names wrong, I do apologize. And his question is, what do you regret most, and what are you most proud of? I'm not really exactly sure what you're referring to in this, but I guess I'll keep it involving singing and voice acting. The thing I regret the most, especially with music, is not taking the advantage of learning another instrument. Mostly the piano, because I love how the piano sounds. And I definitely would have had a better grip in music theory if I did take piano lessons, and I really did hone in my craft if I used the piano. And I could have accompanied myself, which would have been awesome. But you know what? You can always learn. You can always learn now. So hopefully, that's something I'll take up doing. What am I most proud of? I am most proud of the progress I made with my craft over the years. And it's just wonderful to hear yourself when you were 12 years old versus now, and just listening to the progress you made. It's really refreshing, and I'm also really proud of all the fears and insecurities I've overcome over the years. I really think it's because of what I do now and all the outlets I had growing up is the reason why I'm to be able to overcome them. So, yeah, that's definitely something I'm most proud of. Our next question comes from Awesome Girl, and her question is, what inspired you to become a singer and actor? I watched a lot of Disney films. I was a huge Disney fan, and so was my mom. And I also had a lot of original soundtracks from Broadway musicals, and my mom and I and my brother, we used to always listen to them in the car when we were still living in California. A lot of times when we were driving to Disneyland, we would put them in, and I just love the sound of them, and I really think that that's what really drew my inspiration to become a singer and an actress. And of course, I would not have made it as far if I didn't have the wonderful support of my family, my friends, and of course you guys. So thank you all so much. My dream job would... Honestly, my dream job is any job that I can wake up every morning to and be excited to do. Be excited to go into work. If I love what I do, and if I truly, truly love waking up to what I'm going to do today, then I feel that I have succeeded in that. So, yeah. My next question comes from, Luffy Rolls 09, and his question is, do you think American animation should involve more sophisticated entertainment, or should it remain in the kid stuff play box? Now, this is a really important question, and I really love... I'm so thankful you asked this, because this is something that I think is really important. I really believe animation should be treated as any genre. I think it should have a good mix between adult and children's audiences, but I also believe that some of the best animated films appeal to both audiences, both adults and children. And that's why a lot of those films, especially Disney and Don Bluth, Don Bluth in the 80s, and Disney in the 90s, and, and during Walt's period, that's the reason why they're so successful, is they're able to bridge the gap between adult and children, and they were able to make those films that appeal to them. So I believe that when you appeal to those genres, that's when you're going to get the best kind of film. All right, and then our next question comes from Holy Devil. If there is anyone that you would most like to meet or get a chance to talk to, who would it be? Now, I kind of divided this up into living and non-living, because there's definitely a lot of non-living people I would love to meet. The living person I would most like to meet is Julie Andrews. So I would just love to hear her experience with musicals in the 50s and 60s, just to see what it was like. And of course, she got to, do some of the most iconic films like Sound of Music, and and of course Mary Poppins. I mean, so I would love to talk to her about that. The non-living person I would most like to meet is, of course, Walt Disney, and the reason why is because I want to get his tips and tricks on how to create the best story. And some of his best films came from his era, from Disney. So just being able to get tips and tricks from him would be wonderful. Alrighty, and our next question comes from Brianna Baker, and she asks, when did you start singing? And by the way, you have an amazing voice. Thank you so much! I started singing when I was about 4 years old. I did it mostly as a hobby. And then I started doing it... I started really getting good at my technique and my craft when I turned 12, and I started doing it professionally a couple of years later. So, yeah, kind of a long time. So, and okay. Our next question comes from Spotted Star 1123. The question is, what is your current situation? College, city, job, looking for work, after college, intern, whatever. I am currently a sophomore, going into my sophomore year this fall at Ringling College of Art Design, and I am studying animation. Show my face? Well, this is my face. So that's me. Do you play any instruments? I played viola in elementary school, but I don't really play any instruments now. I wish I knew how to play the piano better, but do I have perfect pitch? I don't really know. I really hope I do, because that would be wonderful. What is your love like? What is your love like? What is your love life like? And it's totally fine. I don't mind answering this. It's non-existent, but that's how I want it to be. I want to focus on my work. Do I like pancakes or waffles better? Waffles. I don't know why, but I just like waffles better. I really don't know. So, okay. Then our next question comes from Uh, this is Scotty. I can't pronounce your username, but I know your real name. So, but his questions are, what is your favorite candy? And my favorite candy is Sour Patch Kids. I love sour stuff. Which one ability or power would you like to have? Flight, psychokinesis, speed, strength, blah, blah, blah. I would love to have the same powers that Beast Boy has. Change it to any animal I want. Then I could have all those powers. I could have strength and speed. Though I probably couldn't have psychokinesis or time travel. Oh well. Anyway, which of the main six am I most like? Definitely Twilight Sparkle, because I am a perfectionist. I worry over the littlest things because of my anxiety, and I really strive to be the best that I can be in my work. So, yeah, that's why I am most like Twilight. Let's see. Next question comes from Derek. Hey, Derek. Dirk. If there's any role, is there any role you've taken that you didn't like? Nope. Because even if I'm cast in a role that's either small or unfamiliar, I really see it as a great way to expand my abilities. So I like any role I get. All right, so our next question comes from, sorry, I'm getting my list up. Visions of the Poet. And he/she asks, what are your favorite music genres? I love Broadway, and I love any a cappella groups. I also really enjoy movie scores, like the background music they play during films. Those are wonderful to listen to. And I love big band music. That's my jam. What is it? And number 2 under the questions is, what advice would you give to a person who wants to be a singer/voice actress but lacks the talent and or confidence to do so? Okay, having confidence in yourself is really important to really fully expressing your craft. Most often singers will build that confidence and understanding when they practice their abilities. When they take the time to really understand what they're doing and working on it. Best advice I can give you is take voice lessons, take acting lessons, or if you're starting out and if you're still young, take up school choir, take up the high schools, junior high, whatever, or community production. Go and audition for their musical or plays. And when you do that, you can learn proper technique from the very beginning, and that's extremely important when you start young, or when you start learning proper technique from the beginning. That'll serve you so well. And what's really interesting, something I've noticed, is that those same vocal techniques that you'll get from choir or from voice lessons, that'll feed into your voice acting. You'll learn how to really understand your range and where to place certain things in your voice. And that's especially important when you're trying to develop different voices and different characters. And just keep on practicing that craft, because even the best singers today, I'm sure, even like Mariah Carey, and I'm sure like people like that, they're still doing their work. Bernadette Peters still takes lessons. So just keep on practicing and keep on learning, because you're never too old to learn something new, and it's never too late to keep practicing. And the last part of this that I want to say is, don't ever give up on what you're doing, because if you really love what you do, you won't give up. And if you do give up on it, you really didn't love it in the first place, and that's perfectly okay. Find something else that you love to do. That's the beauty of life. All right, our next question comes from the Ultimate Umbreon, and she asks, do you like potato connections? Of course I do. They're so good. Our next question comes from Letius. I'm really sorry if I really butchered that. I'm really sorry. My question to you is, what is it about music that you love the most? I love how music can move and emote people in ways in which other forms of art can't. The language of music is universal, no matter what part of the world you're in, no matter what culture, no matter what language you speak. Everyone understands music. And even to our core being, we recognize it. Even if we're not aware, we recognize the sounds. We recognize different pitches and tones. Even, this is something really interesting that I watched. It was either a documentary or I can't remember, but they were saying how like fetuses can even recognize, babies can recognize, even before they're born, they can recognize sound that they hear around them. And maybe that's part of the reason why having your baby listen to Beethoven, I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but they say, you know, babies listening to Beethoven, I can't talk today, help them develop their minds better. I'm really not sure if that's true, but who knows? I mean, it doesn't sound impossible. All right, and our last question comes our last question comes from the L Train. And he asks, what is your recording setup like and what mic do you use? I use an AT2020, Audio-Technica 2020 microphone, and I surround it with an isolator so I can minimize bounce. Now, at home, my floor is carpeted, so I have that advantage, but in college, when I'm in my dorm, I have wood floors, and that can be a really big problem to deal with for bounce, so I usually get an area rug for that, just so bounce is kept to a minimum. Because, believe it or not, sometimes having a lot of bounce in your recording can cost you an audition. It happened to me. I lost a role because I had too much bounce. So, yeah. So that's definitely important, for me especially, is to keep bounce to a minimum. Who are my favorite singers? I absolutely love listening to Leah Salonga, Sutton Foster, or Haley Westinra. I love their sound, and they really focus themselves on pitch and how they sing in their tonality. And it's really, really lovely to hear, because you just hear that raw, beautiful vocals. And of course, some of them have the best acting abilities in their singing, and that's also what makes them so entertaining, especially Sutton Foster. If you could be any kitchen utensil, what would you prefer to be and why? I would love to be really anything that dispenses frosting. Because some people love frosting, some people hate it. Because people love sugar, unless you're diabetic. But yeah, people love sugar, and there's so many possibilities you could use with it. You could pipe it to create like flowers, or that's a really poor example. It's like, you can do anything you want. Let's make flowers. So yeah, it's just, you have so many possibilities with that, especially artistic and color possibilities. So that's why I would like to be. That's what I would most like to be. And next one is, what would be your weapon of choice when the zombie apocalypse comes? I really don't think it's not coming. I don't think it's possible for it to come. There was an article that talked about how it was impossible for a zombie apocalypse to happen. But for the sake of the question, best tool, I really think, is your brain. Being aware of your surroundings and knowing what the best course of action to take to survive. Because I would not be strong enough to carry a weapon. And I would not be quick enough to if there was any running zombies. In this hypothetical question, if there are any running zombies, I would not be able to outrun them. So I really think that if you could use your brain to the fullest capacity and be able to be aware of your surroundings, that would be the best tool. I'm really sorry if I ramble on too much. But yeah, that is my answer. Thank you guys so much for all the questions you've sent me. I am so happy to have 400 subscribers. It's, I think, 420 now. So yay, even more. I'll be posting I have a couple more singing videos planned. So stay tuned for that. And I will see you guys later. Stay musical.